Everything starts with vibration. You know, the scientists say it was a big bang. What happened? Something moved. And that's why we say the divine is light. First came light and then came sound. And you know, the Upanishads are very old scriptures. Talk about this divine energy as the Lord of love. And it says, just as millions of sparks come from a fire, millions of sparks, so millions of beings come from this light. And millions of beings are all of us. It's everything. And like Kelly was doing, you know, she said, we've forgotten that we are part of this light. You know, so many of us are so sad today. We don't live the beautiful life that we have been given. And what causes that? What causes all these problems in our mind that we cannot live this joyful life with passion, as she says, with dance, with laughter? The subject matter of tonight's talk is He and Art Makes Heart. Because literally in today's world, we've left our heart behind. So many people are scared to love. They're scared to love. They're so fearful of being who they are. We always think that somebody else is better than us. But I tell you all, there's nobody better than you. There is no one like any of us. Each one in this room is an individual. There's no one with your character. There's no one with your background. There is no one with your eyes, your nose, your mouth. My goodness, you're an original. Why would you want to be like somebody else? Why? Because we don't believe that we're part of that divine spark. We've forgotten. We become so materialistic over the last 300-400 years, coming of the Industrial Revolution. Science says, God. Religions put us off because religions create wars. So we go away from the spark within us. We don't want religion. We don't believe the science. So where do we go? We forget that we are souls living in this beautiful body. And whichever body we've been given, at least it's an original. It's a designer piece. And if you remember that constantly, that each of us were designed, then your work in this life will make your heart sing. What happens is we spend so much time not believing that we are divine. Everybody else is divine. We are not. And then we get angry with ourselves. We get angry with others because we want what they have. But all the time, we are that. Anger comes out because we don't know it. So we don't live with our hearts anymore. And when we don't live with our hearts, we cannot create. Notice, when you're in love, the energy field that you bring. How many are in love in their life? Anybody in this room in love? Great. What does it do to you? It makes you sing, doesn't it? It makes you happy. You want to dress nice for your partner. You want to make them smile. You want to do everything for them. Don't you? And when you get up with that feeling, I want to make you happy. I want to make you smile. You are in your heart. And you're very selfless. And when you're very selfless and you live in your heart, it makes you happy. What happens? You start off in love, very nice relationship, and then you stay together for a few years. You start to see the faults. And instead of remembering where that love came from the heart, and instead of staying selfless, we become selfish. Oh, why don't you do this for me? Why didn't you love me? Or why? Always wanting. So I watched a lot of marriages. I watched a lot of relationships. I watched myself grow up. And when I was wanting and thinking I didn't have, I was never happy. And then when I came to the path of yoga, through my beautiful master, Sri Swami Satchidananda, this is my spiritual master, he left his body 10 years ago, August 18th. And so we celebrated his 10th year Mahasamadhi just a few days ago. Anyway, I came to learn, because the first talk he did that I had heard was world peace. I'd asked him to speak about world peace. And the first sentence he said, don't worry about world peace. If you don't have your peace, how is the world going to have peace? He said, all these people going out, we don't want war. And then they're hitting other people and they're beating other people. All these people who are vegetarians, if you're not vegetarian, I'm going to cut your fur or do this. What are they doing? It's violence. If you really want to change the world, be peaceful. And by your example, when you live from the heart, people want what you have. When you're in love, doesn't everybody want to be in love like you? Aren't people envious? Oh, I wish I could have that love. But if you know you are already love, and you live in your heart, and you live in that love, you vibrate on a very high energy level. I mean, we saw Kelly dancing now. I'm sorry I don't say her name well, because my Finnish is, I don't speak Finnish and I can't do the G's well, so I call her Kelly. Just watching Kelly now, you know, loose, joyful, happy. She is what she is. She doesn't pretend to be anybody else. You get many yoga teachers, many of us walk around, holier than thou. Some are like that, but some aren't. Yoga is the science, is a science of finding the best you can be in the gift you have been given, which is your body. And your body is only temporary. Is it not? Is it yours forever? Is your body yours forever? Anybody seen death around you? I've seen a lot of deaths in the last few years. And I'm very grateful because I know my day will come. This body is on loan. And while you have it, live with your heart. Live with the art in your heart. Doesn't matter if you're not good enough. In the Bhagavad Gita it says, it is better to do your own dharma. That means your own duty. Dharma means duty. Better to do what is given to you, even if you don't do it so well, than to take on the dharma of somebody else, even though you do it well. What does that tell you? That nobody could do things the way you do. The world may not see it as well. People may not see it as well. But that is who you are. I have a little granddaughter. She's special needs. My third granddaughter is special. In the beginning she couldn't move. You know, we didn't think she was going to live. Today she's 5. She is beautiful. Tanya is beautiful. And, you know, all the doctors said she would not live. But we just loved her, and my daughter just loved her. Not once did she say to me, Mommy, why me? She said, you know, Mom, this is a gift. Talia is a gift. She gave up her own life and became selfless. I tell you, I've never seen my daughter more dedicated and more in love with life. She has a passion. She has a dream, and her dream is to keep her daughter alive, no matter how long. And she goes, Mom, she tells me, I don't know how long my daughter is going to live for, but one thing I want to make sure, that she's as happy as possible and as comfortable as possible. And because she believed that, this little broken body, Tanya, today is 5, it's a miracle. She's walking. She's even signing. She's telling me she's hungry. She's tiny. She's this small. She just started walking a few months ago. She just started swimming 2 months ago. So every day we watch a miracle happen. But this little broken body has changed so many lives. My daughter-in-law who lives in Hong Kong, after Talia was born, saw my daughter with her, developed a deep passion. What did she do? She started to bring the best yoga teacher, Sonia Samar is her name, to Hong Kong. There they trained 20 people in special needs. My daughter-in-law today is teaching at a special needs school yoga, and she's changing hundreds of lives and the way they look at these special needs children. We don't call them handicapped, we call them special. So because of Talia, hundreds of children in Hong Kong are being benefited, and Talia has a broken body. Now, I have a student called Lakshmi who lives in Portugal. When she saw Talia, came to visit me in Spain, she is now also working in Portugal with special needs and changing many lives. And next year, well, in September, in December and March, no, in March, in our center in Spain, we started a special needs workshop. My daughter had this passion that physiotherapy should be fun. So we have dance, we have hatha yoga, we have deep relaxation, then they go out to the garden and they learn to play with the plants so that their physiotherapy and occupational therapy becomes art, becomes fun. Again, because of Talia, these workshops were thought of and started. And all by donation, so we can help these people as much as we can to live a better life. Because when you have a special needs child, I have learned the expenses are very high. Lots of physiotherapy, lots of private doctors, because if you go to the healthcare, they don't do much for you. So, so we decided to help. My daughter said, Mom, I want to help those women who don't have they don't know how to go on the internet, they don't know how to start websites, they don't know how to do any of this. So now she started her own website called Ani Owns. And helping hundreds of women, they talk to her by email. She gets up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning because her day is too busy, with the special needs all day long. So she does all the work for the world before 8 o'clock in the morning, before her 3 children get up. So what I'm trying to show you with this story is one, when you work with your heart, great miracles happen. A broken body like Talia could change so many people in 4 different countries. What more can we do with a body with hands that work, that legs that work, that mouths and speak? What more can we do? You see, we don't live from our heart. I read Lord Jesus and he says, love thy neighbor as thyself. If we don't love ourselves, how on earth are we going to love anybody else? And why don't we love ourselves? Look, when you're angry, you can't be loving yourself with that horrible face, can you? When you're jealous, there's a fire in you. You can't be happy. When you're fearful, I'm not good enough, I'm good enough. You're locked in a cage. Who's made your prison? Why blame God? Everybody, I don't know why God made me so fearful. I said, God made you perfect. You became fearful. God gave you the soul, the energy, the power, whatever you want to call it, Jesus, Buddha, it doesn't matter, it's a name, divine energy. We were born with this power. We sold it for a little praise, for a little jealousy, for a little greed. I want more, and the more you have, the more miserable you are, because it's never enough, because everybody will always have more than you. And you know the nicest feeling in the world is when you're just content. Sri Patanjali, in the Yoga Science of Sri Patanjali, says, by the practice of contentment, supreme joy is gained. Will you say that with me? All of you? By the practice of contentment, supreme joy is gained. And what does contentment mean? Just being happy with what you have, what you are, what comes to you every minute of every day. And when you become happy with what you are and who you are, and you try to just fix yourself rather than change the whole world, first fix yourself. We don't have the right to tell people to be good or kind if we can't be kind and good ourselves. We make ourselves liars. How many times in relationships, I see one partner lecturing the other. Oh, you should do this and you should do that, and why don't you change your way? And the partner comes to me. I don't know why my wife is telling me this. She's always shouting. She's quite rude. She swears. So I call them both in. I said, you hearing? You're both doing the same thing. You're not working from your heart. You're not understanding. You see, when we work from our heart, we work from a place of love. We work from an understanding, a forgiveness, a compassion. We embrace rather than break down and blame. When we need to break down and blame somebody else, when we need to do that, we break ourselves. Did you know you break yourself when you break somebody else? Because we're all one. Love your neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor is yourself. When you can't love your neighbor as yourself, you cannot love anyone. And most of all, you. So start with yourself. That is the art in heart. So how do you start? You make art in your life. We just saw a demonstration before the talk. The demonstration of art in dance. She used her methods to bring yoga into dance. And that's art. And when you work from the art, you are too busy to be jealous or to be angry or to be fearful, because you're working with so much love to serve, to breathe, to raise other people to believe in who they are. So the first job, the great yoga scientist Patanjali says, is first job you have to do in order to work from your heart is to understand, is to really understand that you are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts can be changed. You can decide to change it. As you can decide to put a program into the computer and delete it. Can't you? You go to any computer, you don't like a program, you delete it. You don't like this email, you delete it. You like it, you save it. And that's the same thing we can do with our thoughts. Because we are not our thoughts, we can do that. So how do you know you are not your thoughts? And when I first started doing counseling, spiritual counseling, it's very interesting. People came to me and would say, oh, Nalanie, I'm so depressed, my world is falling apart, I'm not happy. Do you think one day I'm going to have all these antidepressants and I'll live and I'll have to go to the mental home? And I start laughing. I said, really, is that what you think? Yes, because I have all these horrible thoughts and I don't know what to do with it. And I said, sit there one moment. You just told me you have the thoughts. Did you hear that? You have the thoughts. So who is the you that is thinking the thoughts? They looked at me and said, what do you mean? Can you watch your thoughts? Yes. You're telling me your thoughts. You're depressed, you're miserable, you're unhappy. Correct? Correct. So who is the you that is watching you? Depressed, miserable, unhappy. Oh, I don't know. I said, you know, we yogis, we call it the higher self with a capital S. Or we call it the witness. Oh, we call it the dynamic spirit. Oh, we call it the God in us, the Jesus in us, the Buddha in us. Any name you want to choose. That's the I. And the I doesn't do anything. The I watches. So, if you can watch your mind being depressed, you can change it. Can I? How? Look at me. I'm shaking. So we use some yoga techniques. Take a slow, deep breath. Take a slow, deep breath. And already the mind is a little quiet. Already. So simple. Now, start to learn a practice that we call Pratipakshambhavana. And what is the practice? Replacing the negative with something beautiful. Something that makes your heart sing. Something that makes you laugh. Something that makes you love. Don't fight the negative. The more you resist, the more it will persist. Have you not noticed in your life? Have you noticed? When you try to say, I don't want it, it'll come to you. You have to face it. And if you fear something, it'll keep coming in your life again and again and again till you face it. You don't face it, you'll die miserable. I always tell people, you're fearful of this, face it quickly. Don't waste too much time. Get over it. Let's go to the next lesson. But how do you face it? By giving your mind beautiful pictures. And that doesn't happen overnight unless you're really blessed. And some people are. They learn very quickly, I have seen. Others take a little longer. Is that wrong? No. We're different. Maybe that person taking a little longer shows other people what can be achieved with long-term practice. Here's Shanti, who's my great assistant. God bless her. Her name is Shanti. She's been traveling with me nearly 20 years and always serving. 20 years ago when I met her, she's a nervous wreck. Is it true? Nervous. Always. Everybody, we went to retreat. Oh, Nalanie, we went to India for retreat. 34 people I took with me to see our guru. Everybody, don't want to sit next to her. She's too nervous. Please don't put me next to her in a plane. I called her, talked to her. What is bothering you? But this girl is so good. 20 years. She practiced working on her mind. She did hatha yoga, she did breathing, she meditates still today every single day. But the most wonderful thing she did, she saw her own faults. And she fixed them. And what was her greatest fault? Lack of self-esteem. You know what her great? Trying to please everyone. Trying to make everybody happy all the time. So she was always, you got to like me, you got to like me. If you want everybody to love you all the time, you're going to be nervous, aren't you? Because some people are not going to like you. It's life. Some people are going to love you and some, no big deal. And now I see her, and Ula was telling me yesterday, my God, what a different girl she is. And so she's been practicing and refining herself. And while she's refining herself, her life takes on many, many different beautiful things happen to her. Many things. I could tell you the amount of miracles that happen in her life. Just watching is a joy. Now, other people in our Sangha, been teaching 20 years, see her change. She can do it. We can do it. So you never know why your journey is longer or shorter. But that's not important. What is important is you embark on the journey of the heart. In the Upanishads it also says, the Lord of love, no larger than your thumb, lives in the hearts of all. Lives in the hearts of all of us. And I love that word for God, the Lord of love, because when you love life, you become creative. You think of ideas. You want things to happen. For example, 2 years ago, this is Ulaji. Her Sanskrit name is Gita. I came here for the first time to Sweden for a holiday because I needed a little break. She has a beautiful house by the lake. I had a lovely holiday. She sat there saying to me, Nalanie, my dream is to bring you here to Scandinavia, to Stockholm, to talk. But I live in Portugal all year round. I just come here as summer house. I've lost all my contacts. So I go, it doesn't matter. People tell me, Nalanie, I want you here, there. It doesn't matter. I never worry about these things. Anyway, she calls me this year with Sari. The two of them organized Stockholm and Finland. And I told her, look how strong your minds are. Because Sari met me in Spain, and she said to me, I would love you to come to Finland. So between them both, they brought me here. So what am I telling you? They needed to serve. They wanted people, both of them, from the bottoms of their heart, to lift souls. And to share this knowledge with so many people. So when the powerful thought, when a thought is full of love, and you want to share something with someone, then it creates an art form and an energy. It creates an energy in your worlds, and it almost feels like a force greater than you is guiding you to do things. You don't do it. She said to me, I don't know how I managed to get Sweden, and we got a hotel there, and we got this, and Sari organized all this, and I laughed. Your thought, nothing to do with me. I didn't even think about it. Their thought. And they created this art or this energy. And because of them, I'm so blessed to come here and speak and meet so many people. Do you see? And that's how powerful a thought is. So it is so important to watch those thoughts, to come from a place of love, to come from a place of service. Oh, why should I do this for this person? Why not? Why not? Remember the song from the 60s or 70s? He ain't heavy, he's my brother. So on we go. And then the other song, Put a Little Love in Your Heart. And John Lennon. What did John? All we are saying is give peace a chance. All we are saying is give peace a chance. You all know this song, don't you? Would you sing it with me? All we are saying is give peace a chance. And how did he spread the message? I don't know if you've ever saw the documentary of his life. If you don't, watch it. Yoga in action. What is the meaning of yoga? To live in your highest ability. To yoke on to your higher self. To yoke on to God. To yoke on to that divine energy. To live. To yoke onto it so you can live with it while you're alive. It's too late when you are dead. Heaven and hell is here while you are living. This is the body where you experience heaven or hell. Our master used to say, it is up to you. You can make your world a heaven or you can make it a hell. The choice is yours. Yes, the Buddha says there is suffering. Of course there is suffering. Sri Patanjali says, to a man of discrimination, all things are painful. So now that you know that, you might as well learn to expect the pain and not worry about it, but also expect the joy and not be attached to it. Pleasure and pain are part of this university. It is no big deal. You know what? I don't know one person on this earth that hasn't suffered. I don't. So there is no God punishing you, or there is no, oh, you've sinned, you're going to hell. The only sin we do is when we are not kind and when we are not generous, we hurt ourselves. It's called karmic reactions. As you sow, you reap. A scientific law, cause and effect. What you put in, you will get out. You put work into your life, you'll get out. You'll get it out. You put joy into your life, you will get joy. My father always used to say to us when we were young, give love, all the time give love. And love will come back to you. And he was such a man all his life. He gave love everywhere. And all he received in his life was love. All he received in his life was love. I was telling Geeta the other day, he started working at the age of 12 so that his brothers could go to school, his younger brothers. He didn't think about it. He worked from 7 in the morning till 3 in the morning to bring food for his family. My father was the eldest. He used to bring a bag of rice. He used to bring it home to his mother. And his mother, my grandmother, was from the old school where you share everything. She would make a pot of rice and she'll go to her children, we can't eat without opening our front door and asking the bus drivers and the workers outside to join us because they've had no food. And they would all share little so that everybody could eat. And nowadays we give a little, we buy somebody a coffee or a drink and it's a big deal. Oh my goodness, what have we become? What have we become? Somebody is thirsty. And once I went to a yoga center many years ago, and this old lady was coughing, and I said, bring her some water. Oh no, people bring their own bottles of water. And I said, you call yourself a yoga center? Shame on you. Water should be free. Everybody should have water if they want. Why are we so scared to give and love and share when it makes us the happiest of all? Ask yourself, just ask yourself, when are you happy? Simply. Even children, I have grandchildren. My grandchildren, when they come and visit me, the other two are not special need, I find. When they do something for Granny, they're so happy. You know what they do? They put loving messages in my computer for me. They make me all kinds of beautiful things, and they feel so happy. Granny, we made it for you. Their eyes shine. People, you see, by nature, we love to love. We need to work from our heart. When we do, you create. Men, when you're in love, you buy flowers. Why? Because flowers represent beauty, life, love. Nowadays, they don't do it anymore. Why? It's such a beautiful thing to do. And that's how you create. And you open the woman's heart when you give them flowers, just even one rose. Oh, talking about flowers, may I tell you a nice story? My husband has passed away. It's about nearly 4 years. And I was married to him for 34 years. And I was madly in love with him. But all couples have problems, right? Normal. And so I remember on Valentine's Day, he never used to buy me roses. And when we first met, he always used to buy me flowers, roses. But after 10 years, forget it. So I always used to complain. You never buy me flowers, complain. So the more I complained, the less it happened. So when I started yoga, I thought to myself, his nature is not romantic. He loves me differently. He's very strong, you know. He loves me in a different way. He does little things for me without saying, I love you. But he does kind things. He'll bring me hot water in the morning when it's 5 o'clock and I'm meditating. He does things that shows love. His nature is not mine. My nature is romantic. My nature is romantic. So this Valentine's, this is the first year I studied yoga. I said, I'm not going to nag him. So what did I do? I used to work with him. So I walked to our shop. I went to a flower shop and I said, I want the biggest, most beautiful rose you have in the shop. And the lady found me a beautiful large rose. So I worked to our business and I went to the shop and I said, darling, happy Valentine's Day. But I didn't get you anything. I said, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I just want to say I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. Do you know after that? Every Valentine's Day took me out for dinner. Every Valentine's, 24 roses. I never had to ask again. See, we forget when we want all the time. That's why all the yogis say, your desires are going to kill you. It's not that desire is a bad thing. It's good to want everything in life. You have it, share it. But we become obsessed. Like I was obsessed. You didn't buy me roses, Valentine's, every Valentine's Day argument. Obsession creates negativity. When I let it go, okay, he's not romantic, I am romantic. Through the work of understanding the mind, what happened? A miracle for me. It was a miracle. Because I accepted him for who he was. And when you work from your heart, you accept people for what they are. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's such a struggle. Go through the struggle. You will burn. In the yoga science, it tells you you will burn. They call it tapas. You will burn. And when you burn, because you let go of something you really want, it burns, doesn't it? It really burns. It's so painful. But if you stay with that pain and don't hit back, your soul becomes very refined. And that's why all the greatest masters, every single great master, what do they tell us? Serve, love, give, purify, all of them. Love one another. Not easy. But we can do it. And when we do it, we live from the heart. When we live from the heart, everything we do becomes an art. Because when you're in love, like I said, you get up in the morning happy, you jump out of bed. If you love your work, you will go to work happily. What do most people do most of their lives now? They take a job for the money. Miserable. How many times have I seen men and women in my office, maybe over 300-400 over the last 20, maybe even more, come to me at the age of 45. It seems that age, 45 for women, and about 55 for men. They come to me very, very down and very, very depressed. And they come and say to me, I have everything, but I'm not happy. They don't like their jobs. They don't feel like getting up in the morning anymore to go to work. They've done it too long. So there was one gentleman I remember, he allows me to tell his story, who said to me, I just don't feel like getting up to go to work. I've done this job for 30 years. I've done a good job, but I'm too young. I'm only 50. I can't retire. I won't get the full pension. And I said, how much money are you spending on doctors at the moment? You said you've been sick non-stop the last year. Why? Because you can't get up to go to work because you find your job boring. You don't love it. You're good at it, but you don't love it. So what do you love? So we started talking. He said to me, I love sports. I love going and help the young boys to develop basketball, football. I love it. And I sometimes on weekends I do that and I feel so happy. So I said, then leave your job and do that. Oh, but what will happen? I'm only 50. How will we live? And I said, how will you live like this? On antidepressants, your life will be very short. And even if you have a life, there's no quality. Your choice. You leave your job and do something you love, but don't leave it right away. Give your boss enough time to find somebody else to replace you. And slowly go from full-time to part-time. Search for what you like to do. Go to the youth clubs. Go to the government. You have lots of good ideas. Ask. What's the worst they can say? No. Anyway, what happened was, he came to see me every week for 6 weeks because he needed to get the strength. He said, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. But because he was better in himself, he'd learned to work with his mind, put in positive thoughts every morning, he thought, I'm happy again, so it doesn't matter, I'm not going to leave my job, I'll stay there, because I'm happier now. I can put good thoughts in my head. So fine, he came to see me, Nalanie, I don't need to leave my job, I'm happy, I still don't like it, but I'm happier. I said, are you sure? Yes, 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 I've got rid of the antidepressants, I'm fine. You know what happened? He was fine for 2 months. After 2 months, back again. The same problem. Because he didn't solve the problem. So he came to see me. He was embarrassed to see me, so he waited 1 year to see me again. And when he saw me again, he was on more antidepressants than before. And he was, I don't know if you notice when people take a lot, their mouth starts to saliva, they have no energy. So I said, you didn't leave your job? I said, okay. Now I need to see you every week for 3 months. Come to the yoga talks, study these spiritual books, and let's make you strong again. We need to wean you off the medicine because you never stop like that. Slowly, that will take me 3 months, 4 months. So we did that. Slowly, slowly, he started studying, started really having faith. He started having faith. And he left his job. It took him a lot of courage, a lot of courage. His bosses were so happy with his work over the 30 years, he got a huge, redundancy pay. He expected little, he got a huge pay. And they all were very happy he was going because the last 2 years he wasn't working up to par. And they didn't know how to fire him. So you see, it was perfect. And when he left, 2 weeks later, he comes into my office. Nalanie, you wouldn't believe what's happened. They've told me if I could work with the youth office and work with these children, they don't pay me a lot, but it's a great job, and I'm so happy. And I said, 2 weeks, you've got the job, and you were scared for what? You wasted 1 year of your life. You see how sometimes fear, when we don't work from our heart, we are fearful. Sometimes when you follow your heart, you're scared. What if it doesn't work? What if this happens? What if that happens? If you have all those doubts, you will never be successful. So you have to work with your heart, but you also have to have faith. You also have to have faith that you love your work so much that the gods are going to help you, and they do. In the Bible it says, seek me first, seek God first, and all its righteousness, and everything will be added unto you. Everything. What does that mean? Seek the love in your heart first. Seek the kindness that lives there first. Seek the compassion that lives in first. Seek the highest in you first. That is the God in us. Have quiet time to hear the divine voices. In our world, there's so much noise. We forget to listen where the voice comes in. We forget to hear that, oh, I love you so much. Trust me. I'll look after you. We forget. So we want to control life. We want to control people. We want to control suffering. We want to control happiness. We just want to control, and control. And the control is not in our hands. The only thing that is in our hands is how we look at a situation. That's all. This is the way it is. Let's find a happy solution. Then you're living in the heart. Let's find a solution. One that will benefit everyone and myself too. Is a perfect action. My spiritual master always used to say, what is a perfect action? One that benefits. One that brings some benefit to someone and no harm to anyone, including yourself. So if you benefit somebody else thinking, oh, I'm so good, I'm doing this for you, I'm such a good person, and you're angry and sorry, I really don't want to do it, I want to say no, but I don't say no, forget it. Better not to do anything. That's not a perfect action, and it's not even sincere, and it's even hypocritical. Better to shut up and do nothing than to pretend to be good. Because it's pretense, and you will never be happy with pretense. So, what is a perfect action? I love to do that for you, and like the grandchildren, Granny, I did this for you. I love it, they love it. Perfect action. No harm. They created 3 hours making this beautiful vase for me out of paper mache. Beautiful. But done with love. But if they, I have to make Granny something for her birthday. Oh, Mom says I have to give Granny for her birthday. Do you see? Not a perfect action. We do that with people all the time. And the soul senses. You know. Your soul knows. Don't you just know when somebody's doing something for you with love, and when they're doing it because they want something from you? Don't you just know it? We are very intelligent beings. We know it, and we pretend we don't see. So we don't work from our heart. We don't walk away from situations that are going to destroy our lives. We jump into them. We don't embrace situations that are going to better our lives. We fear our light. And all comes from not working in your heart. And what is working in your heart in life, in this material world that we live in? Look at your bodies. Look at who you are. Look at the background you have been given. What background have you been given? What are your talents? What gifts do you have? Even simple gifts. And work on those. Once when I was teaching in the early days, a woman said to me, she said, you know, Nalanie, I have no gifts. All I love to do is my housework. And I said, do you know how tough that is? Do you know there is an art in housework? I said, do you know what in art? You wash, you clean, you cook. Next day it's the same. That takes a lot of character. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of love to do that same work day after day. And then to make all these new dishes for your family every single day. 3 meals a day. You don't call that art? You don't call that a talent? How many people run away because they can't do it? Let me get a job so I don't have to deal with the housework. I said, you've got a wonderful job, lady. And you know, when I told her that day, she started then to do catering and cooking, and her life started to blossom. She no longer looked at it as, oh, it's just menial work. I've got no talents. Do you see? Sometimes we think we don't have these talents, and they're great talents. And that's how you work from your heart. Because you start to draw out the best in you. And the more you draw out the best in you, there's no more time for the worst in you. You're too busy doing wonderful things, creating for yourself, fixing your own diseases, fixing your own mind. Our master used to tell us, be your best doctor, be your best psychologist, be your best teacher. Learn to watch yourself. Nobody knows you better than you. But don't judge yourself so harshly. If you make a mistake, forgive yourself. Didn't Lord Jesus say that? Didn't he say that? Peter asked Lord Jesus, how many of you are Christians or Catholics here? Any in this room? Thank you. Yeah. So, he said, Peter asked him, how many times should we forgive? He said, 70 times 7. Does not your Father in heaven do more for you every single day? We don't forgive ourselves, but we're forgiven all the time. All this nonsense, we're not forgiven. Rubbish. We don't forgive ourselves. Nonsense. There's no God that punishes you. I love the Upanishads because it screams out, know yourself, know your higher self. It's the Lord of love. Awaken that Lord of love. And then you will live in love. You will flow with that energy. Because what is God? Is that dynamic energy, that dynamic power. Love is a dynamic power. It heals. I watch my grandchild get healed when the doctor said she wouldn't live beyond 2 and maybe never walk. She's walking. My daughter proved all the doctors wrong. You can heal with love. No anger. Why me? Why not you? Why not? Maybe you can be the example to show somebody how you can be, how strong you can be, what stamina you have in your soul, how lucky that you were chosen for such a difficult job. You must be really respected. And that's what I learned. I changed the chip in my computer with yoga. I changed that chip to thinking, wow, nothing is impossible. If I have complete faith that the highest self lives in me as it lives in everyone, because we came from the same big bang, I am convinced of that. Nothing is going to be impossible. And my life became magical. I don't know why I'm sitting here. I have no idea. I never wanted to teach, but I always loved people. I just always loved people. So God made me a teacher. But I love life. I think we have one chance at it in this body, with this mind, with this intellect. We don't know what we're going to be the next time around. So what's the point to think, in my future lives? Or some people, oh, Nalanie, I want to do so much meditation so I never come back to this body again. So many people tell me, I said, sorry, it's not in your hands. What is in your hands is this moment, this time. Fill it with love, fill it with kindness, fill it with goodness. And if this moment gives you a bang, take a deep breath and say, what do I have to learn from this? How can I remedy it with love, with kindness, and not hit back? It works. It's the best medicine in the world. It really is medicine. when you don't hit back and you give something with love back to the universe, it heals. It heals. You know, when my husband passed away, it was the darkest period in my life. All I saw was black. And if anybody lost a spouse, you know what I mean. Any of you lost a husband or a wife in this room? Okay. And when you're in love with someone? Horrible. After 34 years. And we were very much together, even though we were very different. Totally different. And I know why we were different, because I had to learn to accept him. And he had to learn to accept me. And we did, finally. Took us nearly 25 years. I always say the best years was after my 25th year. But there was something so strong in both of us that we recognized. That's why we got through all the bad periods, you know? Because we both recognized that there was something so good in each of us. We just had to bring it out. It just took time. It just took acceptance. But anyway, I went through this dark period. And without the anger, everybody goes, oh, why did he die so suddenly? Why did it happen to you, Nalanie? Why, when you don't hurt anybody? I said, don't ask any of those questions. We all have to die one day. It was his time. It was his time. Yes, of course, I will suffer, but it's normal. And through this black period, all I could do was this. I could talk. How odd, isn't it? And yet, at home, I could no longer write. I used to write a lot of articles, couldn't do it. I couldn't paint. I couldn't do anything creative until this last year, this last 1 year. But this was easy. Why? Because I felt God was using me to make other people happy. And while I was making other people happy or live themselves, as Kelly said earlier on, what happened? I got healed. I became healed very quickly. I got through this dark period. I see other people go through it, and I help so many people go through it. But I felt helped throughout this dark period because there was no anger. And then I started to learn sorrow was also dark. But I knew it was part of the human process. So I accepted my pain with love. And that's the point I wanted to make to you here. Accept pain with love, and it will pass. Fight it. It will take a long time. And the only person that will suffer is you. And when I embraced my pain with love, the gods healed me. I could laugh again. I could have fun again. And I do. And we're all going to go one day. So why not live? So anyway, I dedicate today to my Shanky, who's my husband. So life is very interesting. It's full of magic when we work from the heart. You see things that you've never seen before. Your mind opens to a new world, because what stops you? What blocks you from your higher self? The mind is the filter. In the yoga science, we call it the mirror. It's like when you have a mirror in front of you, right? And it's dusty. Or you go to the hall of mirrors, right? Have you been to that amusement park? You go to one mirror and you look skinny, and you go to another mirror and you look big. Have you been to the hall of mirrors? Ever?
Yes,
If you
yes.
I used to go a lot when I was young. They used to have it in all the amusement parks. And, well, the mind is like a mirror. You look at it, and if it's dusty, you don't see yourself clearly. And what's making it dusty? All those thoughts that you have, belief systems. I'm bad, I did this, I'm a sinner, I'm evil, I'm this. Oh, how dare you do this to me? You're bad, you're evil. Do you know, all this is dusty. So you can't see who you are. So the yoga science And Sari has taken the course in yoga science. She's under, we call it Raj Yoga. And the yoga science is getting the tools and the knowledge on how to remove the dust of era, so you can see yourself as you really are. Blissful, beautiful, and what was the other one you said? Bountiful. Abundance. That's another thing. That's why we're so frightened to leave our jobs. We don't believe in abundance. I mean, I believe in work. Don't get me wrong. I think everybody should work. I think work is the best medicine in the world. And that's why I said I could do this. I could work. I could work. Work, it keeps you going. Use your hands, keep your body going. But work with love, work with energy, work with dynamism, work with your heart, work like that. Don't work just for the sake of money, because you will get the money, but you may not have the life. Like those people ask me, I have everything, Nalanie, why am I not happy? I'm already 58. Panic. Panic. They have panic. That's why they have panic attacks. They have panic attacks. They're panicking. I'm getting older and I still haven't enjoyed my life. Or where's my life going? And then other people who retire spend all their lives making money so they can retire. And they retire, and you know what the first thing happens to them? They get sick. They get sick. I've seen so many. I was talking to a lawyer in Marbella. And she said, you know, Nalanie, we have so many wealthy people move here to retire. While they're working, they're happy, they're intelligent, they never get sick. They retire. They play golf all day. They get bored. They get bored. And after 3 or 4 months, they come to me. There's this problem. They sold their business. The house is leaking. That is leaking. All they do, their brilliant minds are now all the time complaining. What happens? All of them, heart attack, cancer. And I tell them, keep busy, because she's a busy lawyer. She's very busy. Keep busy. Retire. My master used to say, when you retire, retire. Put a new tire. Do something else. Do a hobby. Do something that can serve others. You need 3 ingredients. I mean, this is the best line, I think, one of the best lines he taught us. He said, to live a good life, you need to be easeful, peaceful, and useful. You need to feel useful. Easeful, because your body is at ease. That's why we do the Hatha Yoga, to keep our body healthy. Peaceful, we look after our minds, to keep the mind peaceful. And then everything works very well. When your life is peaceful, things flow, don't they? They go very quick. And finally, useful. If you don't feel useful, what's the point of living? Don't you love it when people need you or want you? Oh, I really need you. Thank you for helping me. It's a nice feeling. Useful. You feel useful. There's some reason. Oh, thank you for teaching me that. Oh, thank you for showing me such a lovely dance. It's a perfect marriage. It's win-win when you feel useful. They benefit, you benefit. You give your talents, they receive your talents. Fabulous. What a wonderful way to live. And I tell you, it's magic. Because can I tell you what a magical day I've had since we've arrived? Shall I tell you? You know, it was magical. First of all, Ula's my hostess, and I want to thank her. She's going to say a few words in a while about the charity we work with. And so will Sari say a few words. They should have said in the beginning, and I totally forgot, as usual. So, you know, we went on the boat from Sweden to here, Stockholm to here. We arrived this morning. So it was pouring with rain, and poor Ula said, I'm so sorry, it's raining. No, I love the rain. We've come to from Marbella, so hot. So happy to have the cool weather, you know? And then we met these gentlemen and would love to have the hot weather. So we were quite happy with the rain. Really, I'm quite happy with it. And it's peaceful. She was saying, I hope everything is okay. Don't worry, you and Sarah will just drop it. Everything will be fine. Don't worry for me. So anyway, we get off the boat. She picks us up. So kind. She brings us umbrellas as well. She brings us flowers. Already the day is magical. She said, oh, I can't show you around because it's raining, but I'll take you to the church that has the rocks. What is it called? Yeah, do you know it? Isn't it so pretty, right? So we walk in off the boat and we go to this beautiful church and there's a pianist playing. He's playing beautiful music and we sit there and we go, oh my God, I love your country. That's what I was thinking. I love this country. Look at a church in the rocks. I've never seen a church in the rocks. How beautiful and how clever the architecture with the round and the space in between and the acoustics. And we have a personal concert with the piano. How lucky. So anyway, she says, okay, I want to show you somewhere. I take you out to lunch. We had a lovely lunch by, what was the restaurant?
Pavilion.
Yeah, Pavilion. It's right by the water. Doesn't matter, the rain is no problem. It's beautiful. You see the boats, you see the green. We have a lovely lunch. Then she says, before we take you back to the place you are staying, I'll take you to one more church. Oh, I love churches and I love temples. You know why? I love the energy in them. Because when people go in, doesn't matter if they're bad or good, but sometimes people really pray from their heart, right? Oh, please help me, please this. They pray from their heart. So you get that sincerity stuck in the walls, that energy, that love. Lord Jesus, I love you, help me. So that's why I love any temple. I love them all different religions. I love all the religions. So anyway, we go into this church. We walk in and we hear this voice. What was the song?
Glory, glory.
Glory, glory. This big operatic man's voice. And apparently, can you tell them what was his name?
Jaakko Ryhänen was practicing and we are walking in there.
Yeah. And this voice comes out. So we're the only people in the church. We sit down and she tells us, you know, this is a very famous singer in Finland. We are loving this beautiful voice. He's practicing now. If it hadn't been raining, if it had been sunny, we would have done more sightseeing and we wouldn't have come to that church earlier and we wouldn't have seen him practicing. As a result of the not such good weather, we got there early and we had a personal concert. And I told him, my subject tonight is he and art make heart. Can I talk about that we met you here? And what is his answer? Sure. Sure. So we had 1, 2, 3 songs from him. Just the 4 of us. Don't you think that's the best? I said, wow, God really loves us. A personal concert. And we weren't even planning it. Do you see, when you live in that energy field of gratitude and contentment, because that is what God is made up of, those energies, then things will just constantly, presents are constantly given to you all day long. Because your mind is not blocked with when you complain, as you think, it becomes, I'm speaking about that tomorrow, right? So your mind is thinking of just beauty, and beauty comes. And it really is true. I'm not making this up. I've been teaching the yoga science for 20 years, and everybody who applies it is successful. So it works. Meditation is wonderful. Why? You spend quiet time with yourself. You spend quiet time with yourself. You learn, first of all, you can't meditate. If anybody tells you you can meditate quickly, they're lying to you. It took me years to get even 1 second in silence. Because the mind is like a machine. Da, 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 da. You know, we yogis call it a drunken monkey stung by a scorpion and possessed by demons. So we spend many years training. Why not? We spend time training our bodies in gyms. We spend time with our work. Why not train our mind so that what our soul can shine through? With all that rubbish, it cannot. And we don't make time for our soul. So the meditation is really to make time for your soul, to learn about you, who you are, what you are. And with that magic, silence comes normally. But I meet so many yogis, meditation, so strict, so hard, they're stressed out. It's the antithesis of what meditation should be. Meditation should bring you peace, joy, not make you stressed out. So I say, if you can't meditate, don't worry. Didn't she say there are many ways? Listen to some music. Sing if you like to sing. Paint if you like to paint. My husband used to tell me, I can't meditate like you. When I drive, I'm in another dimension. And for years, what did I tell him? Oh no, you need to learn to meditate. And I saw myself and I said, no, there are many paths to the divine. That's his way. Who am I to say my way is better than his way? Who am I? Who do I think I am? I have no right. I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed. I said to him, I'm really sorry. So many years I was ignorant. No, darling, don't worry. How generous he was. And after that, we used to go for long rides, 4 or 5 hours. He meditated his way, and I meditated. Perfect couple. He used to tell people, he used to make jokes with people, because I'm vegetarian, and he likes meat. So he said, we make a perfect couple. I eat all the meat, and she eats all the vegetables. And we both accept each other. Because that he didn't like vegetables, he couldn't eat them. And I couldn't eat the meat. So in the end, we just lived harmoniously together. Whenever we went to a restaurant, there was no vegetables, he'd get stressed. Darling, what are you going to eat? I'm very happy with salad and chips. No, you can't have that. He loved me so much, he'd have to find me somewhere. There was plenty of vegetarian. So I would honor him the same way. And where there was both for us was the perfect restaurant. The meat for him and the vegetables for me. That's the way God made us. I don't know what is right or wrong anymore. I really don't. And I'm not even going to tell you I think there's any right or wrong. I think all life is a growing, it's a learning. And when we get in touch with the Lord of Love, we can no longer judge what is right or any wrong. We just want to lift souls up. We just want to make a better day. So let's start to make a better day. It's a choice for me. You know the song, We Are the World? We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start giving. It's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. Michael Jackson. It's a choice we're making. That's the only thing we can change. It's the choice to make a world, a heaven, or a hell. That's it. When we make it a heaven, we flow with this generous, abundant, beautiful energy that brings concerts out of nowhere and flowers everywhere. And when we live in hell, we see sorrow, darkness, pain, blame, greed, jealousy, anger, fear. Choice is ours. You know, many times now I see couples, I tell them, love each other. Don't argue so much. If you don't agree, just say you don't agree. Don't try to convince the other person. You don't agree? You don't agree. Fine. What's the big deal? Some people like Chinese food, some people like Indian food. Do you argue? Accept you're different. If you're all the same, it would be very boring, wouldn't it? There's nothing to learn, there's nothing to grow, there's no art, there's nothing creative. Learn to be creative with your relationships, learn to love each other. Do you know that men, in the last generation, most men, I'm sure you all know this, had heart disease. And one of the biggest doctors, Dr. Dean Ornish, who wrote the book Reversing Heart Disease, found out the reason why men had more heart disease than women was because when they were young, they were taught they cannot cry, they cannot show their emotions. And when these men took the heart disease, reversing heart disease training course or therapy course, when they learned to say, I love you, or I really care, and learned to cry, they reversed the disease. Because they learned to open their hearts. And what's happened in this generation? Women, we've lost our gift. We are given the gift of nurturing, loving. And we've lost that. We are Mother Nature, Mother Earth. And we've lost this gift of saying, darling, no problem. Not a big deal. We want everything this way. We want to become like men. We're women. And yes, we can do everything equally, but we're women and they're men. There's a book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. Have you read it? It's a great book. And it doesn't matter, that makes the play. That's why it's so much fun. That's why we need to, we call it Shiva Shakti in one person. Male, female, finally make the perfect picture, yin and yang. You need the two opposites to make the whole. But instead of working together to join the whole with love, we compete and we separate. Don't make it a competition. Too many relationships don't work from the heart anymore. They work from the mind. It should be like that, or should be like that. Don't work from your mind anymore. Work from your heart. You watch how it transforms your life. It changes it. So I think that brings me to the end of my talk today. And I think Ula has a few words to say about our charity. And Sari has a few words to say. And if you want to know more about this yoga science, Raj Yoga, Sari's taken the course. I'm sure she'll be very happy to help you. There's so many beautiful truths. My wish is for the whole world to learn this science. My next idea would be all these teachers go out in the world and teach children, slum areas, go to poor areas, anywhere, give it freely. It costs nothing to be good. You don't need to be a teacher to practice yoga. You just need a big heart. You don't need anything else. And your life will change. Not all yogis can do hatha yoga, and it doesn't really matter. But if you can, great. But everybody can clean their mind. And everybody can serve. And everybody can love. Because that's what we do most, the best of all. Why do I know it? Because when we love life, we sparkle. We bring the light shines in our eyes. What more proof do you want? It's so simple. It's common sense. And when we're angry and we're greedy and we're selfish, the light goes in. The body changes. So, as Kelly said earlier on, open. Yes, you will get hurt, I guarantee that. But who doesn't? No big deal. But you will also get the other side of the coin, which is great love and great joy. And like Shakespeare said, it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Because that is the biggest crime of this life. When you can't live with your heart, then you really waste your human existence. Because it is in that love that joy comes, peace comes. And let's do it while we're living. Oh, the Master said to do it while we're living. But we worship them. My Master used to say, don't put garlands on me and put flowers on me. Do as I do. Lord Jesus said, do as I do. So we go to church and drink the wine and have the communion and go swear, hurt everybody else. Pardon? Did he do that? Pardon? Did Lord Jesus do that? Did Buddha do that? Did my Master do that? What did they do? They gave us love and compassion. They forgave us 1,000 times. And that's why we have the faith in ourselves. And that's why we rise above ourselves. Can't we do that for others? We should do that for our children, our families. We should be the example. Sometimes the children become the teachers, and sometimes the parents are the teachers. But now I see in this new generation, many times the children are teaching their parents. They are teaching them to love again. Because the last generation got so involved in making money. It's great to have money, but does it make you happy? If money makes you happy, then you have it all. You have money, you have joy, you have peace. Wow, you're a perfect yogi. I think I'm the richest person I know.